What do you think of when you hear that a man is putting a woman on a pedestal? So here we go. Stop putting women on a pedestal. Treat her like an equal. We got this whole equality thing here. This is going to be perfect. All the feminists are going to agree and have a wonderful time if they come across this presentation, because it's all about treating women as equals, just like they wanted. And this mindset is going to help you guys if you start to fall into that chemical trap that women can put you through, to where you're not quite thinking clearly and you're doing things for her and you don't even know why. So here's the question again, putting her on a pedestal. And so I'm just going to keep it really simple when I talk about putting a woman on a pedestal. It's simply giving a woman special treatment because she's a woman. You're doing things for her because she's a woman. And a lot of the things... And I brought up, I think I have 7 to go over, situations to go over on this one. And as I was like finishing and uploading it, and then I was doing that on my laptop, and then I send it over to this computer. I was already like thinking of multiple other scenarios. I was like, dang it, I forgot one. I forgot another one. So there's going to be a lot that I miss. But the whole idea is if you can train your mind to run it through a filtering system, then you can prevent yourself from doing, let's just say, stupid things for ladies. Okay, so here's the goal, guys, to stop putting her on a pedestal. By using this filter, treating her like an equal, okay? By using that filter, and we're going to break this filter down a little bit, men will be able to make better choices around women. And when I say better choices, maybe I'll even say just more clear-headed choices. The fog can be lifted when you run scenarios through this filtering mechanism, because we all know, we can all sit here a million times and be like, oh, we could bring up a story and be like, oh, look at this beta mon, look what he did. But we all know it's a little bit different when you're in the scenario. Sometimes you don't really see it happening to you, and then all of a sudden hindsight's 2020, and after the fact you could look backwards and see it this way. But when you're in the moment, when you're in the bunker, sometimes this stuff gets to you. That's what women will do to us. Okay, so here's the mindset of treating her like an equal. And we have to start, this is going to be the way that I'm going to break it down. And if we can agree on this little breakdown, and then the rest will kind of make more sense. So if you think about in regards to women, just think about it this simply. Okay, it takes 2 people to have sex, equal partners. Therefore, getting or giving sex is not special for one party over another. Now, this is a big mind hurdle for a lot of guys, because just think about how a lot of us guys talk. Like, oh, did you score? Did you get lucky? So we use these phrases that really put it all into the power that and what that does is that buys you into this fantasy world where when you have sex with a woman, it's her giving you something. She did something for you, so therefore you have to do something for her in return. It's like for some reason we are kind of trained in this mindset that if you have sex with a girl, it's like, well, she had sex with you, so you better treat her right. It's like this big gift that she is giving you. But let's just go to, the whole feminist ideology perfectly. Just treat her like an equal, an absolute equal. So if you think about an equal, right? Man and woman, both, it takes 2 to tango. So if you just think about this filter, right? That sex in itself is something that both parties are contributing to. So therefore, that's not a reward for you as the man. Just think of it completely equality. And then we're going to run some scenarios that you'll see in day-to-day life that will help you see things a little more clearly when you really just boil it down to like, right, okay, if a girl, because that's what a lot of guys are, talk about too. It's like the unwritten rule. If a guy marries a woman, right, he gets the exclusive access to sex with her. That's, again, this stereotype, this social conditioning that we all live into. And I'm just saying, step back and just kind of ask why. Just think about that, right? Sex, You're giving it to her just as much as she's giving it to you. So let's start with that. And then here's the filtering mechanism of treating her like an equal. So think of like you're Superman, right? This is a superpower you're going to be able to have. And you're going to use your little X-ray vision thing. This is like your filter. So whenever you see a certain scenario, if you can try to remind yourself to put it through this filter of treat her like an equal, then you can just basically take a step back and just think logically. Because again, that gets us in the most trouble is guys around women is when we stop thinking logically and we start thinking emotionally. We get those emotions invested and then we start doing stupid stuff that we would never dream of doing if we were in our logical state of mind. And many common social scenarios seem ordinary, ones we're going to talk about, until you question them, until you just ask like, wait a second, why? So using this filter of if she were a guy, would I still be doing this? Now I'm going to put an exception to this rule, guys. If you are starting to have sex with a woman, no, I'm not suggesting that you stop and go, if she were a guy, would I still be doing this? No, I'm not asking that part, but just take all the other scenarios about putting a woman on a pedestal. And if you use this filter, if she were a guy, would I still be doing this? And then you think logically, a lot of the times the answer is no. And I want to give a couple exceptions to the rule before we get going here. In the sense that I hear some guys will say, I will never hold the door open for a woman. And guys go, never hold the door open for a woman. Now, here's where I talk about treating her like an equal. Again, if I'm walking somewhere and I see a door needs to be held, I'm going to hold the door open for whoever is behind me. Whether it's a kid, whether it's an elderly person, a guy or a girl, that's just kind of how I was raised, right? So I'm going to open the door for whoever's right behind me. Just period. I'm not giving special treatment. It's not where, if you were a guy that doesn't do that, you just don't hold the door open for people. And then all of a sudden, a girl's there. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to hold the door open for a girl. See, again, you're treating her differently than just if she was an equal. So there are certain scenarios, same with like on the bus. If you're riding the bus, right? And a guy goes, well, I'm never going to give up my seat for a woman. Well, it's like, okay, if there's an older man or an older woman in my own life, then I'm going to give up that seat to that person just because respecting my elders. So those are the exceptions to the rule I'm talking about. But now let's break down some scenarios here. Scenario 1, meeting someone new, okay? So just think about the scenario of meeting someone brand new, whether it's, online dating or you just met someone new at a networking event. All right, so if a woman says, all right, I expect a man to ask for my number. I never text a guy first. If he puts in effort, maybe I'll agree to go out with him. This is not a weird scenario for today's world. A lot of women would go, well, I expect a man to ask for my number. I never text a guy first. I've heard many women say that. If he puts in effort, maybe I'll agree to go out with him. Especially think online dating. This is kind of like the mindset again that a lot of women go in with, and a lot of guys just kind of accept it. It's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, okay, I got to text her first. I got to do this. I got to show her. I got to put in effort. I got to show her that she should go on a date with me. All right, now put on your Superman X-ray vision on this scenario of meeting someone new, meeting a brand new person. Okay, just think of you're meeting a brand new person, and a man, you're meeting this new guy for the first time, and the guy comes up to you and you're like, oh hey man, what's up? And he just goes, hey, by the way, I expect a man to ask for my number. If you want to stay in contact, I expect you to ask for my number. And then if that same guy says to you, and he goes, and by the way, I'm going to expect that you're going to text me first. I'm not going to text you first. Like, you're going to text me first. And then he says to you, and by the way, if you put in a lot of effort, if you really show me that you're committed by, putting in effort, then maybe I'll agree to go out and meet up with you. Okay, again, if you put that same filter, right? This is something that a lot of women have this mentality, and a lot of guys play along. Again, what are you doing? You're putting a woman on a pedestal. You're treating her completely different simply because she is a woman. And if you take that same scenario and you just go, okay, if a guy did that, a random guy I just met, and he just came up and he's like, dude, no, you got to ask for my number. You got to text me first, and then you got to put in an effort, and then I'll decide if I'm even willing to meet up with you. What would you do to that guy? Would you put up with that with a guy, a random guy you met? Or would you just be like, okay, weirdo, okay, I'm never going to talk to you because that's really weird. I just met you. Why would you say something like that to me? You're not above me, right? You would think that way if it was a guy. But if it was a woman, think how many guys are cool with that. They're just like, yeah, okay, that's the way it is. Okay, yeah, I got to pursue her. I got to show her that I'm putting effort in. That's just one of those big, it's like one of those scenarios that when you step back and think about it, you're like, wait a second. Why would I do all this just because she's a girl? Again, that goes back to you're changing your life. You're treating her differently literally just because she's a girl versus if she was just a person. Yeah, Carl said it right here. Those are the blue pill simp days. Absolutely. And, the reason I can say a lot of these things too is because, like I tell you guys, I was such a blue pill simp. So a lot of stuff is more of just me hashing out what I used to do or used to think, and then realizing that was like a big downfall in my life. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, this is why, that's what I used to do. Here's what I would do now instead, because I used to do all of these things. Look at that. With all these thoughts, she's got to prove her worth. Amen. Right? Imagine this scenario. Right, she's got to prove her worth, right? Imagine this scenario with a guy. The only time you would put up with that, if a guy was saying that, it's like if this guy was maybe like a celebrity, he was famous, and he just was super busy, and he's just like, hey, dude, you gotta text me, or I'm gonna forget. Like, I just can't. You're gonna have to text me. You're gonna have to talk to my, what do you call it, like assistant or something like that. That's the only scenario. And again, then he's bringing something to the table because he has this status and he's like a celebrity. He can probably introduce you to things. But a normal girl, if you think about it, we have all these like built-in rules that we just go along with, not realizing it's like, wait a second, why the heck do we put up with that? Adam the Prince was a blue pill. My man, I absolutely was. So much so. It was a peasant mindset I used to have. Like, oh, I'm just so lucky to be around you, girl. I'm just so lucky. You're my queen. You're the queen of my world. You rule over me. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe.